welcome, Joram. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for inviting me, and it's great to be on this show. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So
Mm.
tell me, Joram, what are you doing? Where are you from? I see you have your company banner up. So it's your company is called Wild, I
Yes,
suppose.
it is. Yes, it is.
Um, Tell me
Yeah.
more about what are you doing? Where are you from? Who are you? What is your story?
Yeah. So Wild is a company that we set up in Kenya about, I would say, since 2004. So it's been around for quite some time, almost 16 years in operation.
Mhm.
And we started out as a training company, but moved into helping entrepreneurs to grow their businesses. And we were able to build a business model around training and coaching and consulting for entrepreneurs. And we started out our activities in Nairobi, in Kenya. And our headquarters is actually based here in Nairobi, Kenya. But I've had the opportunity to consult for entrepreneurs and entrepreneurial ecosystems from all the way from Egypt, Nigeria, down to South Africa. So, I've done work in about 9 countries across the continent, and a little bit outside. I am part of like the startup mentoring program for Impact in Berlin. So I've done quite a bit of mentoring of both startups and entrepreneurs who are building growing businesses. Yeah, a big number of customers. And recently we just launched another brand called the Sandbox, which is like
Mhm.
an offshoot of Wild, but has become a much bigger brand than Wild, which is more like a one-stop shop that we've put together for supporting entrepreneurs in Kenya, and we hope to do that also across the continent and hopefully across the world as well.
I heard that. I just see there's some people tuning in from Austria, from Germany. I see Romania. So it's also from Africa. There's a lot of people.
Hmm.
Berlin, of course. I hope there's a lot of people from Unpacked too watching you right now.
Oh, wow.
So I read
Yeah.
a lot of things about what you're doing with your one-stop shop. How does it work, and what solutions do you have for entrepreneurs?
Yeah.
So I know you have
Yeah.
a lot of things you offer, and what is it
Yes.
exactly that you're focusing on right now?
Yeah. So the one-stop shop is really was an interesting evolution of our business model. We used to collaborate with a lot of consultants on our clients. Like we would do a strategy, and then the clients would ask whether we knew somebody who could do for them, branding or marketing or legal work or tax, advisory work. And so at some point we just began to ask ourselves, maybe this could be, an innovation if we saved the clients a lot of time and money going around from office to office, and we could all sit in one location. And so we put together a very large group of consultants because we have about 25 different expert areas.
Wow.
So everything you can think about, from a lawyer to a marketing consultant, a brand design consultant, an innovation consultant, governance, IT, risk management, operations, and processes. So we all came together under one roof, and we got this one location now called the Sandbox, SNDBX. And so we are looking at to continue collaborating. We just came together in February, so it's a pretty new experience. And but the collaboration is really excellent. Like it saves so much time when we are in one location, both for our clients and even for ourselves as we collaborate to help entrepreneurs. So we call it a one-stop shop. Entrepreneurs can walk into one location and basically get all the help they need in one space. Yeah.
So basically, if I would come to Nairobi now, I would say I want to go there. Is it like I can also work there? I can exchange with other entrepreneurs and just have the basic knowledge transfer, but also with experts from
With
each and every
experts, yes. We have a HR expert there. If you need, recruitment, she can help you with that. So we also have training rooms, coaching spaces, and meeting rooms where we do things like small consulting assignments. So we save our clients having to pay for hotels and expensive locations. So it's really something tailor-made for, what we call small and growing businesses, or small and medium-sized enterprises and entrepreneurs and startups as well. We run all these programs from one location. It's a very beautiful space. I can send you the link for the walkthrough.
Definitely. We would need
Yeah,
that
and
to share it also with our community.
yeah, and but then in future we are also looking at opening up other sandboxes in other cities and other countries as well, so that as we scale up the concept, it also becomes a platform where if I'm a member of one sandbox in one country, I can go and work in another sandbox in another country and also find the same experts to help me to navigate the local environment. So if it was, say, in South Africa, in Joburg, if we had a sandbox, or in Cape Town, then you can find, the same system to help you to set up your business in that location, or in Lagos, or, Cairo, or wherever else.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
maybe
which is
Berlin
like
as well.
Berlin, Vienna, there's so
Or
many
Austria.
countries.
Yeah,
I
Vienna.
just see Sam Sima is online from South Africa. We have greetings from Austria, Germany. Um, Lots of people watching.
Wow. Mhm.
So we know the situation currently is a little bit rough, especially on the
Mhm.
economy,
Yes.
regarding the coronavirus situation. What is the current situation that you are seeing, and how is this situation affecting businesses
Yeah.
and companies right now, not just on the African continent, but worldwide? What did you see from so far?
Yeah. So I think first of all, this is maybe something that happens once in every 100 years, because the last time something like this happened was in 2018, where it was a global pandemic. Sorry, in 1918, like
18,
more
yeah.
than 100 years ago. So this is something that people do not even think about, or expect. There's probably very few people alive who were there during the last pandemic, and so it's something which business people did not even project could happen, or think that the global economy can be shut down by a disease. And so it's something that did not appear in the risk plans of anybody, and nobody could have predicted the extent to which it has affected the world, where basically it has there's restricted travel in some places, there is no travel at all. And then within countries, you find that people are quarantined, so people have to stay in the house. So businesses that relied on walk-in traffic or physical interaction with their customers are basically caught in a situation where there's nothing happening at all, and they have to close down. And so many industries have been affected, particularly the airline industry. Tour and travel industry has been really affected. Business travel has been affected. So you have nothing happening on the hospitality space. And so you find there's quite a number of sectors that have almost come to a complete standstill. Restaurants, hotels, and even retail spaces now have to do a lot through e-commerce, which they were previously resisting. So you have quite a number of industries that have just come to a complete standstill. You have a few governments that have come up with packages to assist businesses to,
Yes.
keep running during this period, because they know that very few people will be making any money, if at all. But you find that the level of government intervention in different places is quite different, depending on the wealth of the government and how much money they actually have to set aside. So there are different types of interventions, from interest-free loans. Some are getting bailouts in terms of having their employees paid half salary, or
Yes.
even 75% salary, like I saw in Denmark. So you have all these different situations, but it's very clear that it's a very desperate situation across the entire world, from rich to poor countries. Poorer countries have less money to bail people out, so their options are, less, and you have less support in those kinds of economies.
So, because I know with the one-stop shop you are quite much required to have people being able to come
Yeah.
into your location. So
Yes.
question is, and I think this is a very interesting question for all of us, is how, what changes have you with Wild approached so far
Mhm.
to say we are navigating, because this is our theme, obviously,
Yeah.
navigating through the crisis. What have you, what experience did you have so far, and what have you done to support your community?
Community, yeah. So one of the things we had to quickly ask ourselves, because we knew that if you project how long the COVID pandemic tends to affect a country, you're basically looking at a period of 4 or 5 months from when the infections are first detected to when they grow and then get to their peak and then begin to reduce. And only one country has done that successfully so far, which is China, in terms of getting to the place where the infections are now reduced. So every other country seems to be either at its peak or dealing with the highest levels of infections or growing infections right now. So we knew that once the government gave a directive that people cannot gather anymore, we knew that we had to change our business model. And we had to ask ourselves the hard questions around, can our value only be delivered face to face, or can it also be delivered in using another business model or another medium? And we just had to drill down. And this is a question a lot of entrepreneurs can ask themselves in terms of, what value do I really deliver? Is it really about my physical presence, or is it about the output that the customer gets?
Yeah.
If I'm still able to achieve it at the end of the day without having to be there with them physically, if I can do it via technology, if I can do it by delivering something to them, is there a way that I can continue to be in business during this time? So what we did was we looked at what we do for our clients, which is usually a lot of education, a lot of training, a lot of consultation. And we saw that we could do that through, just the whole internet webinar. So we had not been doing this on a large scale. In fact, we had rarely been doing meetings. Like, people were not very open to doing meetings online. But very quickly we had to check and see which platforms can do this very well for us. And then we put together and we created a product for the COVID period, how to help people strategize for this period, where we can coach them online for about 2 hours and help them come up with a very specific strategy for their business for survival. And we were able to put that out as a product that's relevant for this time. And then for all our other products, we had to now repurpose them for the digital space. You cannot, in a training, you can do a whole day training, but online you cannot do more than 2 to 3 hours. People get tired and it's not the same experience. So we had to shorten our courses and basically structure them differently for webinars.
So right now you're restructuring. I'm just saying Kumbirai, actually. We have a lot of viewers from South Africa, as far as I heard.
Yeah.
And Joram, I think it is your perfect possibility to get in touch with the people
Yes.
to open a one-stop shop in South Africa.
Yeah.
So, what do you think can we do? So obviously we are hoping that the situation will ease up soon, but we also do see what is happening right now. What's been happening in China before. So they've been on lockdown for quite a while. A lot of other countries are still struggling.
Yes.
What do you think that in this time where we are in a lockdown or in a shutdown, what can we do to prepare our businesses, our enterprises for the time after coronavirus?
Yeah.
And what possibilities do you, with your company, with Wild, have to say to young entrepreneurs, to startup companies, we can support you with this and this and this. Join us and we can help you. What would
Yeah.
you tell young entrepreneurs especially?
Yeah. So I think the most important thing is, first of all, to come out of the COVID period as a strong business, you have to do a lot of preparation now. Because what I have seen with a lot of entrepreneurs is that a lot of people, this is almost like going through a period of grief, where something that was completely unexpected has happened. So a lot of people start by being in denial, first of all. They don't really accept the situation, and they are paralyzed for some time before they begin to accept what is happening and take action. But what we try and get a lot of people to realize is that the short-term period, these 2 or 3 months are quite important in taking some very proactive and quick action to see if you can prepare yourself for coming out of COVID. So in the short term, you definitely need to do some things like, is it possible to reduce your expenses so that you can conserve as much money as possible? Depending on which kind of legal system you're in, is it possible to have a quick discussion with your landlord and tell them, look, we are not going to be able to pay the full rent for the next 2 or 3 months because we are not using the space, we don't have any money coming in. Can you have a quick conversation with the landlord whether they can give you a rent holiday or a reduced rent? Some industries are unfortunately affected so much that they have to lay off people or put people on half salaries or reduce their expenses internally. So these are difficult decisions, like depending on how much government support you're getting, or if you're not getting any, you have to make some quick decisions now because your business has to survive that period where there is no business happening and be able to open up stronger. And so if you can't continue to be in business, you can do things like taking time to just reflect on your strategy, analyzing your customers and seeing are their needs changing. In the short term, can you do some in-depth understanding of your customers' needs so that as you begin to come out of COVID, maybe you'll have created new products or services or new ways of serving them. For the innovative ones, you can start to think about, is it possible to create a product or deliver my product or service differently at this time? Is there technology I can adopt that will allow me to continue to serve my customer? Is there a new product I can create during this time so that as we launch out again, I come back a bit stronger? Can I do maintenance? Can I renovate? So it's trying to be useful with this time rather than just sit at home and watch Netflix or something. You could actually
Netflix and chill, be more
yeah,
productive.
you could actually be taking some time to work on your business, take some quick action. And it's definitely going to be difficult. And I always say that, leadership is really tested in a time of crisis. How you're able to move quickly and address the issues is what determines whether you're going to survive this period or, whether you're going to be hit very hard during this time.
Getting news in from South Africa. Samsima is saying we will mobilize professional coaches and mentors to support our entrepreneurs, especially in market access across the African borders and into the EU markets. And Sam would love to get in contact with you.
Yeah.
So maybe just put it in. I know the team is going to share it too. How can people who are watching us, people who will watch in the future, find you, and how can people get contact to you? How can people approach you? Because when I watch Facebook live videos or any social media live video, I will be like, okay, this is a super great idea, but how do I get in contact? What do you tell those people? How can they come in contact with you to be part of your community?
Yes, so I would be very happy to, talk collaborations with people from all across the globe. I'm happy to interact with people from anywhere. We have our social media presences, which is Wild International on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also reach us at the Sandbox on www.sndbx.ke. I'll repeat.
We will post them in the comments beneath.
What's that?
We will post your links.
Also you'll post the link, yeah. So www.sndbx.ke, and we have an email there, karibu@sndbx.ke, and my own email address is joram@wildinternational.com. So you can reach me through that. I'd be happy to have conversations about collaborations.
Okay, that was one of the questions. So going ahead, we've been speaking. There's a lot of thank you also from South Africa. Rapula is also online here. We've been speaking about what should we do during this time of the crisis, but also how can businesses, small, medium enterprises, startup companies, which are new to the market, I guess this is one of the struggles I'm seeing in a lot of startup companies is they're new and now it's a crisis. How can these startup companies or these companies in general still
keep
scale their
going.
businesses and still get some revenue. If it's not for governmental support, what would you tell those startup companies or entrepreneurs to do, or
Yeah.
whom to approach, basically?
Yeah, so the interesting thing is that businesses are always based on addressing needs or solving problems of our clients, and there's a sense in which problems never go away. Like the needs are always there. It's just that the way we solve them usually takes the shape of a service or a product. And so if we are to ask ourselves, have the needs of our clients gone away completely, or have the needs changed into something else to address this moment in COVID? Because maybe you train companies on on customer service or something in the hotel industry, but at this time you'll be asking yourself, is there some training I can do around COVID safety that will keep those employees safe as they deal with this situation? So can you tweak your product or tweak your service to actually address the COVID situation right now? One of the things we did was to think, how can we help people come up with a strategy? Because we are a strategy company, but how do we help them address the issues? And if you look at strategy frameworks, usually first we look at internal issues that people are dealing with. So we help people analyze what their cash position is. Do they have any runway? Do they have any period which they can run? And then we help them also think through innovating their products and services to address this COVID period. One of the interesting things we also noticed is that there are some sectors that are doing extremely well at this time. Sectors like pharmaceuticals, health supplies, medical supplies, transportation for e-commerce is booming right now, more than it ever has been before. And one of the things we've been asking people is, do you have clients who are in those sectors who are facing increased demand and need help from you on how to cope with the big business that they're dealing with? So not everyone is struggling. There are some sectors where you can still find pockets of people who are still in business, still doing very big business. Can you create a product for that sector? Can you, if you have clients in that sector, can they introduce you to other people? Like one of the industries we've seen growing a lot is on the digital space. A lot of companies in Africa were not digital ready. And so when this happens, a lot of the people who offer the infrastructure and tools for digitizing of services had very increased demand, and actually our HR consultant is very busy recruiting for some of these companies. So how can you target those sectors that are facing increased demand as well, as a way of staying in business during this time? But all in all, even if you're not able to stay in business, one of the best things you can do if you're a B2B business is show care to your customers. They're also just as anxious as you are. You can call them and find out, how are they doing? Are they okay? Is everyone okay around them? For some people, it might be the only call they get, asking them how they're doing, because everybody is very stressed at this time. We've been doing that and getting very good results for it, because at the end of the COVID period, 2 or 3 months down the line, people will remember who was there for them, not necessarily the person who went, who disappeared from the face of the earth during the crisis.
So it's very interesting you say that, because what I've seen lately, I live in Austria, so we've had the situation for a longer time, and what I do realize is that a lot of young people are right now getting together through technology, through social media, through everything. On each and every district, we are trying to support elderly people who are in I would say being like, the target group for this virus, which have a higher infection rate, or like even potential death rate in that case. So I've seen that, and I hope that it's also going to show a lot of solidarity and bring also, I think we can take a little bit good out of it and see that we are going to meet our neighbor now, and we are going to see who our neighbor is, because living in big cities, I think this is a big thing. We already cut the theme, and we said one question that is, I think, right now very important is, how can technology play an important part for us to bring hi Moses, just seeing here Moses is going with us. how would you say that technology can help us to navigate through this through this
Mhm.
crisis, and what particular steps are you saying? Because we talked before, so we
Yeah.
know a little bit about each other.
Yes.
Here in Europe, we're getting a lot of online courses. How is the situation?
Mhm.
Do you think that we can take this possibilities right now also to advance technology and to show that we actually need technology and we have to navigate through
Yeah.
technology with
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. So the first thing is, I would tell people not to be afraid of technology. You may not have used a lot of it in the past, but this coming period is going to be a time for you to test how you can deliver your products and services using new technologies. So there's technologies on different fronts. There's technologies for supporting meetings, and there's quite a number of tools from Microsoft Teams to this one that we're using to, there's Zoom and all sorts of other webinar meeting technologies that you can use. Then you also have technologies for sharing files, for remote working, for collaboration like Slack or Asana or these kinds of things. And I would say that this is actually the time for people to open up their minds. The technology has, the situation has forced us to adopt technology a bit faster than we would have liked to. Some of us would have preferred not to, but we are forced to adopt technology. And at this time, if you don't adapt, you're basically putting your company on a path towards dying. If you don't have the skills, can you find a young person or somebody who understands the technology very well to help you adopt it and put it in place? We started to do webinars about 3 weeks ago, and we had one today, and I was just very impressed by how good we have become at doing the webinar productions. We are almost like a media house now, and we
Yes.
have all
You're
these videos embedded. And
you're moving more out of the picture. We're
yeah,
seeing
okay.
less of you.
Yeah, so
So,
it's a time for experimentation. Do not be afraid. You'll not be perfect the first time. Like the first meetings and webinars you do will not be perfect, but if you have a continuous improvement mentality, you'll get better and better at it, and within no time it'll be just like the same way you are facilitating physical meetings or physical meetups. We are able to do consulting online now, and we have people paying us to help them create a COVID strategy online, and we do a one-on-one engagement with them, or we do a webinar with them. So it's very possible to adopt new ways of doing things. If you have a business that is dealing in products, this is a time to adopt e-commerce and delivery. So find a delivery partner, find a platform where you can put your products and have people order, and you're able to deliver to them. And even after COVID, because people will have tried out some of these things and seen how convenient they are, it's likely to become a business model that will stick down the line. So it will be very helpful that those who will already be doing it will be in a stronger position at that time. Yeah.
so your advice is use technology,
Yeah.
work, learn, don't sit at
Yes.
home,
Yeah,
Netflix.
you'll make mistakes. You will make mistakes for sure, but it should be okay as long as you're going to go improving. I've seen a lot of people are very anxious or very nervous about trying out something new, but just, set a date for the first one. Even if 10 or 5 people show up, just, do it and start, and then build up on it. You might have to start out with reduced or even free pricing. For us, one of the positive things we've seen is that the attendance of our online meetings has been a much larger number than the people who've been physically coming to our meetings. So our brand is actually growing further. We've been able to assist organizations that are not in the same city as us through webinars. So we've actually been able to expand the reach of our market because of using the technology that we are using now. And right now, as you can see,
Yes,
I've been
exactly.
able to build the Wild brand across Africa and across Europe and across the world. This is something that probably I would not have thought about immediately if I was just focused on delivering services through my
Yeah.
physical office. Yeah.
But I think also in the first expert live sessions we said it before, we usually do our live meetups, and also I was just Sam is writing from South Africa, and we are in discussion with a lot of companies, and we do want to engage different companies from different countries also from the European and from the African market. So
Yeah.
for us, it was important to be able to use the technology. And I think it's the same with you, your company, and with your team. We have to focus on using technology to move forward. There is mistakes. There might sometimes technology isn't that perfect. We've had
Yes.
the situation before.
Yes, definitely.
But I think also there's a lot of live streaming right now. So this is also one of the reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that also there's another problem partly that is internet connection. How would you resolve, or what would you tell to people saying, "Oh, I want to watch this Afrolynk live video, or I want to watch this wildlife video"? What do
Yeah.
you suggest to people
Yeah.
to do then?
I think it's looking at different methods of doing it. You can do the live webinars, but you can also have recorded videos that you put up online and, give people access to be able to download so that, when they have an internet connection, they can download it and then they can go and watch it at home where they don't have as good an internet connection. There are different formats. If you're going to be putting out content for mobile, then you need to think about making it into smaller bits and pieces, because people do not spend a lot of time watching videos online. So can you do at most 2 to 3 minute videos, and then you accompany them maybe with a document that people can read, or a link where they can do a test, or so looking at different methods of being able to deliver the same thing. But what you want at the end of the day is that if your objective is for people to learn, that the learning actually occurs, no matter which platform they work with you. We had two big company partners that we were working with here, and we were working out the contract for this year. And then COVID happened, and we quickly thought on our feet and went back to them and said, look, we were going to do these things physically, but what if we were able to convert what we were doing to be a digital project? And surprisingly, both of them were excited to try it out. And so we were able to convert the contracts to be digital contracts, and we've been able to continue in business as a result of that. So if you have entrepreneurs here who also were having canceled contracts because they were physical, they can go back to those clients and say, look, we can convert this into a digital product and continue to do it, because business should not necessarily stop because people are not seeing each
Then
other.
contact you and say, Joram, I need your help. I saw that you did it. Can you
Yes.
support us? This is very important because online
Yes.
contracts is one thing, but you also need the legal advice. And I read it and I know it. You're also giving legal advice.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we're having watching people from Namibia. Hi from Europe and Africa to Namibia.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think we have to use the technology and the possibility we are having right now. And
Yeah.
is there any more questions from our viewers? Do you have any more questions you want to put, or things you want your community, our community, to tell?
Yeah, I think one thing I would like to encourage the business people out there is that one dangerous thing that I've seen is that one of the worst things you can do at this time is to isolate yourself. It would be important that you be part of, especially a community of entrepreneurs if you're an entrepreneur, because that's where people are having difficult discussions about the challenges they are going through. But if you isolate yourself, it can seem to become a bit darker than it actually is. But if you find that you're collaborating with other entrepreneurs, sharing ideas about what are people doing across borders, are there new ideas that you can share with one another? This is how you go ahead and create a network that can support you even through this difficult time. When you realize that there's many other people in your city or around the world also going through the same problem, then you realize it's not an isolated thing, and that we can actually get through this together if we collaborate. In our community, we've been able to collaborate amongst the entrepreneurs we have 17 of us who've already done thought leadership pieces around COVID, and we've been doing this together and pushing out the content together. And as a result, we've had of the collaboration, we've had organizations come and say, you seem to have all the skills necessary to help our people during this time? Can we contract you to support our people, or can you be advisors for our people during this time? So there's always an opportunity to do something about your situation. Do not despair. Do not feel like the world is coming to an end. I know many people feel like the world is coming to an end. It's not. It's going to pass, and we have to be ready for the time that it passes, that when the economy picks up, we are not left behind, or we are not, in a weak position at that time. Yeah, I can see we have someone from Tehran as well. Welcome.
Yes, a very good friend. Hi
Yeah.
from Tehran.
Yeah.
I think we could go ahead and talk for the next, I don't know how much.
Yeah.
But I also know it's the holidays are starting from tomorrow on.
Yeah.
It's Easter holiday. I think even during this time we can use the technology that we have to also stay in contact with our family too.
Mm-hmm.
So as you said, don't isolate yourself. Don't stay locked up. I mean, yes, we are locked up in a kind of way, but use the technology, use it,
Yeah.
and
Connect.
stay in touch with your beloved ones and with your family, and use social media, do watch parties. And I think with that, we will very soon be able to get out of this entire situation stronger. And hopefully, I'm saying that very much,
Yeah.
hopefully in collaborating together, Afrolynk and Wired, and
Yes.
with our viewers,
Yeah.
with our community. And thank you
Yeah.
very much for the interview, Joram. It
Yeah.
was a pleasure.
Yeah.
We will
Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a pleasure to be part of Afrolink. I've interacted with Moses quite a bit. I'm seeing a lot of comments on Facebook. I'm going to put my details there as well, about a lot of people asking about how we can collaborate. I would be happy to set up meetings, online meetings with people from different countries, just to see, is it possible to take our model there, and how, what does it take to do that, and to be able to collaborate and, help entrepreneurs using our model. Definitely what we innovated with the sandbox was, I've actually been looking for similar models around the world, and I can't seem to come across any. And it seems like quite a brainless innovation, but that's just what happens when you keep but trying to innovate your business model and become better at it. And so we've learned a way of bringing people together, and we can be able to share that model with other people and even collaborate across borders, because the sandbox model is definitely stronger with partners across the world than when we just try and do it alone. So I'm very open to conversations from people who would be interested in doing that.
I think we will sure be able to do that. I know, for instance, we're having the conference. I hope you will be able to join
Yes,
us.
definitely, I should be.
Live in Berlin. Thank you so much. We will put your contacts in. We will also save the video for everyone following us right now and who wasn't able to follow us. We will still share it on our social media accounts. And next week, we're going to have another expert live session. We're looking forward to it on Thursdays at 6 p.m. CET. Thank you very, very much, Joram, for taking the time. Have great holidays. And
yeah,
stay
and
happy.
thank you as well, and great holidays to everyone, and stay positive. Look towards the future. This will come to an end. Do not despair.
We
Yeah.
have to see it like Sam says, the situation is bringing us closer together. So I think this is a very great way of ending a very, very great conversation. Thank you very much and have a great time. Thank you for watching and see you next week.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye, and see you.
Bye.
Bye.